Hey, and welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in, and now let's jump into today's episode. Hey, and welcome to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast. In today's episode, I talk top 5 foods to avoid and to eat more if you want to lose weight and keep it off. So this is kind of topic what is now often it's autumn. It's a time that schools are starting. For many people, especially those who have children, that you are after some summer, you are getting back to routine after summer. And now for many people, it's time that now it's time to do something. Maybe you have had an enjoyable summer and gained some unwanted weight, and now you want to get rid of it. But if you are, as many of others, you have struggled with your weight for the past years, you are kind of always in the same routine that you are gaining, losing weight, and it feels that it's never going to be sustainable. This episode is going to help us. I'm going to tell my best strategies, what I have helped with literally over 1,000 people at this point in my within past decade being a coach. So hopefully this episode is helping, and this is I'm not holding anything back. So this is all information what I share also with my one-on-one clients on my best on my programs. It's what is the difference? This is information, and then with like kind of coaching, it's that you are I'm holding your hand for a short period of time, and then we are depending on person, how long you need that kind of hand holding, that you are actually doing those things what you already know, because most likely there is not going to be so much new information what you wouldn't find, or there is nothing in 2024. You will find all information for free. So there is no new information. It's just more about maybe thinking something a little bit differently, maybe having something like that you have heard something, but you were too scared to do something. So hopefully in this episode, you get clarity what you actually be doing. And this is one of the best examples is one of my clients, Seda. We have been working now for a while together, and she had that kind of mindset that she had kind of list of foods she could never eat, and especially foods like fruits. For some reason, watermelon she didn't eat for over a decade because she thought that there is way too much sugar, and she was avoiding these foods. And that was so relieving when she didn't have that list of foods what you should be avoiding. And even in this episode, I'm going to talk about foods you should be avoiding. But she felt so much relief when she had her numbers. She knew exactly what to do. So there was kind of that overwhelm was taking away, all that guesswork that should I do this, should I do that? And you were focusing just on a couple simple things at the same time, and didn't make it too complicated. And now she have finally gained confidence of doing it. She can do it alone, and she can actually start taking action. So these are very, very important things, and hopefully you will learn from this episode how to actually do it without feeling overwhelmed. So what is understanding what is first of all, like what I like to like losing weight is it's an outcome from being in a calorie deficit. So calorie deficit, as you probably know, it means that being eating less calories than your body needs at the moment. So that is the way how you are losing fat, how you're losing weight. But I like to call it fat loss because it's a energy balance. When once that is negative, you are losing some tissue from your body. And this is the most important to understand, is that if you are thinking like that you want to lose that weight, it doesn't matter. You could be cutting out your arm. You could be losing 10 kilos of your muscle and very little fat, but you are seeing the lower number on the scale. But that is not the same than losing fat. So you could be, for example, you could be losing 5 kilos fat, gaining same time 3 kilos of muscle. So you don't see as big number on the scale, but you are seeing your body composition is changing, and even that progress is lower. So that is the kind of the difference between weight loss and fat loss. And your goal should be always fat loss. Even I know that especially for many women, you are focused, it's coming from the past. I don't know where it's coming from that, but goal is to get that scale weight going down. And often there is some kind of reminder from your past, what you have had, like maybe you are now in your 40s and you were weighing certain amount in your 20s or in your 30s, and you felt good at the time, and now you still think that that's the weight what I need to be, but you are actually not. It doesn't matter what number that scale is showing. It's all about that feeling confident, and finally getting there, what makes you feel the same way. And it doesn't need to be that exact number on the scale. It can be in a higher, it can be in a lower, but it's all about that confidence. And hopefully in this episode helps you to get it. And to understanding like that, probably like from diets, calorie deficit is not a diet. It's just an energy balance, which should be if your goal is to lose weight, it should be negative, or otherwise that you are not going to lose fat or weight. So, and the idea, it's not a diet. So what is for many people, it's so eye-opening when I tell that goal is not to be in a calorie deficit. You should not have a list of foods what you can't eat. So you can have literally everything. And the goal should be always to eat as much as possible within the limits, or within your calorie goals, or within your calorie limit. So you have some kind of boundary, some kind of goal what you try to hit. And the goal is to eat as much as possible. So it makes it so much easier when your goal is to eat as much as possible. And that's the whole idea. What I'm doing with my coaching is to find a ways how to eat foods you actually enjoy eating, and eating as much as possible that it doesn't feel that you are dieting. Because if you tell yourself, like, for example, what is very popular nowadays is to, like, let's say that keto diet or low carb diet. So you cut carbs out. So you have a rules that you can't eat carbs. And then you might feel good for a short period of time. And then when you at some point you start to eat and include those carbs again, what is going to happen? How you are going to feel about yourself? So you have your rules, you broke your rules, and then if you are even a little bit perfectionist, that you are kind of all in or nothing mindset, and then you are thinking that now I already broke it, so what is the matter? I get back on track maybe next week or in 2 weeks or next month, whatever. So it doesn't matter anymore. I broke those rules already. But within a calorie deficit, it's a little bit different. So the goal is always to have a weekly budget, like with your money. It's the same, like let's say that your number is 2,000 calories per day. And if it's multiply that with 7, it's a 14,000 calories. So that is your weekly budget. And how you divide it between the days, you could be like most people. If you want to have a kind of more freedom on the weekends, you could be having a higher number on the weekends, lower number during the week. You could have your workout days a little bit higher number and lower number, or you could have every single day at 2,000. So basically, how you are getting into your weekly budget or weekly calorie goal, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. And there are so many ways, as we are everyone individual. So that is first clearly, or quick explanation about calorie diets and diets, what you probably have heard, and what it then means. Like if you are, what is the best way to know it? Like if you have never tracked, like that is something what I always recommend to start at some point. The goal is to track your nutrition. So it's not the goal should be for most people is that you track for a while, but you should not be tracking the rest of your life. So it doesn't mean that you have to do it. There are just the people that they found it so valuable, especially in those moments when you are trying to either change your body composition, so either gaining muscle mass or losing body fat. It's the tracking is the most effective way because that is to be more accurate. If your goal is to maintain your weight, for that, like you should be in a maintenance most of the times. Like it's only like calorie deficit and building muscle. They are phases, which are usually they should never be longer than 3-4 months at a time. Like you could, if you have a lot of weight to lose, you could be longer in a deficit, but at some point you have to take some kind of diet breaks because it's mentally it's going to be so challenging if you are all the time trying to lose weight and you never learn how to maintain it. So how you think if you are going to maintain lost weight if you have never practiced it? So this is not, even you are not in your calorie deficit or in your weight goal yet, you should practice doing it. And the goal is always, as I said, is to eat as much as possible. So there is foods what I'm going to tell later, like what are like kind of low in calories, high in volumes, and that is called like kind of volume eating. And if you have like there are then some other foods which are like very low in density, like they are very small amount of foods, but with high amount of calories. And obviously those foods, it's not, I'm not saying that you can't have them because literally you can eat whatever you want until you hit your numbers, but it just makes to hit those numbers so much harder because being in a calorie deficit, it's hard anyways. And if you are all the time like eating wrong type of foods, you make your effort so hard, and it's going to be almost impossible if you don't follow these principles what I'm talking. So let's get started with foods. If I go one food to avoid, one food what you should be eating. So it's kind of that I'm not telling you if you are waiting or list what you should be avoiding, as you probably have heard or seen in social media that these are foods what you shouldn't be eating or they are dangerous or you might die. Honestly, we are all going to die, and those foods what you see especially in social media, like of course if you are eating every single day something, it's not the best idea for your health. But if it's every once in a while or in a moderate, usually those portions, like if you hear like now what are like seed oils or something what you have probably heard, or something that they might be dangerous, or diet cokes or something. There are so many studies that until if you are having them in a moderation, like for example diet cokes or diet sodas, you drink 1-2 per day, that is totally okay. It's not probably, I still probably wouldn't do it, but studies are showing that the amounts that they start to become dangerous for your health, they are like that you have to eat then, or you have to drink like 50 bottles of soda to that it's you are getting that kind of portion what is getting healthy. So just think usually often now in social media it's just that kind of information, they get attention, and that's why you probably have seen a lot of that kind of content. So foods to avoid, and then how it's impacting us, you see it more often. You are starting to think that might be a true. You start to be scared, you have fear, and then it makes you confused. So often just learn to think like that what is actually important, what is not. So often these kind of things that what dangerous foods or food types or single foods, it's they are just made to get attention in social media, and that is kind of sad thing for me. If you have a good information, but those kind of posts are not getting in viral in any social media because they are kind of boring, and what is actually working, those are boring things. So but let's get started with foods to avoid. And first on my list is kind of beverages which have some calories. So why is this for, especially for weight loss? And like I said, I'm not telling that you can't have these things. It's just that less you have these things, better you will be. So all kind of beverages, like this is like explaining, like for example, sodas, all sweetened teas or juices, or some special coffees where you put like Starbucks with all kind of sugary coffees where you have a lot of calories. So why is this that something you should be avoiding or being very careful? Because this is something like if your goal is, let's say I use that number what I said earlier, 2000 calories. So if your goal is to eat 2000 calories and you are drinking every single day like 300-400 calories from liquids, it's not that amount of calories is not going to make you feel fuller. It's just that you are drinking, but you don't feel anything. You don't have any more in your stomach. It doesn't make you feel fuller. It's just that you are just getting those calories in, but you don't basically feel them, or they are not possible within to make it that that doesn't make your diet easier. So, and it's the same thing with the alcohol. And alcohol is, if you think like one beer, that is a good reminder of myself too, especially after summer. 0.3 beer is around 140 calories. If you drink half liter of beer, it's 200 calories each. So if you think like all calories, what you are drinking, so even you can still be in a calorie deficit while you are drinking alcohol, or you are drinking sugar beverages. It just makes it so much harder. And with alcohol, how it's not only about calories. It's the biggest thing for me is with the alcohol is that okay, there's many ways how it's impacting to your weight loss. So first of all, that it's often when you drink alcohol, you are also eating something more. You have some kind of chips or snacks, or you are starting to feel hungry and you are eating more. And the second thing, what is actually even more important, is that how it's impacting to your sleep. So you might think, I have heard it so many times, that I don't feel any difference if I drink one or two or three. I don't feel any difference in my sleep. You might not feel it, but if you track your sleep, how it's impacting especially for weight loss, is that because there is something called ethanol. And when you drink that ethanol, and that is the first thing for your body, is that if you are trying to lose weight and you have ethanol in your body works to remove that ethanol first from your body before it starts to remove fat or any other source of energy. So this is the first thing what your body is removing, and it's how it's impacting to your sleep. While you are sleeping, your body is trying to remove that ethanol. It's your resting heartbeat is going to be a lot higher. Your recovery is getting slows down your recovery, and then after, how it's impacting on next day. Even you might not feel that I have less energy or something, but if you look like all kind of facial impressions, your step amount, there are even studies that if for people who are sleeping 5 or 6 hours compared to full 7-8 hour nights, it's at around 300 calories less what you are consuming. So, or what you are eating more. So it's even you don't feel it, you might think that I'm okay. I'm still okay. I'm doing fine. I don't feel any difference. I slept good. But if you track your sleep, it's impacting a lot more than you believe. And even especially like for me, I can tell from myself. I track my sleep now for a couple of years. It's for trends. It's not always the same thing, but if I have more than one alcoholic beverage, and even if it's only one, but if it's close to bedtime, it's impacting my sleep. I'm more tired, more likely that I'm going to eat more the day after, more likely that I'm going to move less. And even if you are getting your steps in, but your facial impressions, that your energy, what your body needs, is going to be lower on the next day. And then this is kind of a cycle what repeats. And that's why I highly recommend to limit your alcohol intake. And if you are drinking like that, you are kind of trying to, that you think that you deserve beer, or you need there is a lot of stress, you are kind of using it to suppress your emotions. I highly recommend to find some other ways if you have never tried, because that is not, it makes it actually all this kind of like alcohol, you think that it helps you to relax, but actually it makes things only worse. It helps for the short moment, but then in the long run, it makes things only worse. So that is just the opinion, but I know it's easier said than done if you are someone who likes to drink alcohol a lot. So that is food number one to avoid. Then what is something number one what you should be eating is to eat more is always protein. So that is something what I'm sure you have heard, but protein is the most filling macronutrient. And I don't know almost anyone, like I would say that over 90% of people are struggling to eat enough protein. So how much protein you should be eating is that if you take your whole body weight, if you use kilograms and multiply that with 1.6 or 1.5, that is a minimum amount. Ideally, it would be more, but if you have never tracked, like let's say that I'm weighing at the moment 90 kilos, I multiply that with 1.5, that's 140 grams, around 135 minimum. My goal is I try to hit 150 grams protein every single day. So that is my kind of bare minimum. Ideally, I would get somewhere 180, but I feel like that is already kind of too much at the moment, as I don't enjoy eating so much meat, and I'm not enjoying to have too many supplements. So that is, I'm good with 150 grams, and that is already pretty hard task. I feel pretty good about it myself, and that is what I'm aiming for every single day. And that's something what you should be aiming to. So then foods to avoid is kind of number two is all kind of processed snacks. So think, what is a processed snacks? They are all kind of chips, cookies. What is because they are obviously, food industry is making them delicious. They are usually very high in calories, low in density, like food density that you are, or high in density also, that, but you are not feeling fuller. They are just tasty. And when you are eating that kind of snacks, it's very easy. Like you might be someone that who is saying that I'm not eating a much for lunch or dinner, you skip the meals, but then you are snacking kind of all the time. And in the end, those amount of calories, if you would have a bigger meal, you would have a lot less calories than you are eating like small snacks throughout the day. And as those snacks often, they are high in unhealthy fats, sugar, salts. And that is something what I personally would avoid. And again, as I said, you can have, but take a week time to track your food and see what you are actually eating. So that is always the one way, or the best way, what I recommend. I never tell someone that what you should be doing, but if you are just someone who is starting, track your food for 7 days, weekend included, and see what you are currently eating, and then after that start to look at where you could be doing some kind of changes. So foods to eat more is then second in my list is vegetables. So vegetables, they are something like that, what I call kind of 0-calorie foods. So even, okay, technically vegetables have some calories, but for me, they have so little calories and with so much fiber, so much vitamins that you can more you are able to eat, better it is. So if you look uh, daily recommendations, they are like a half kilo or kilo vegetables per day, and I think that there are not many people who are getting it. But the goal is just that more you are able to eat, better you will be. And if you are worried about your calories, if you look like all vegetables, they are so low in calories. So more you are able to eat, better you will be, easier your calorie deficit is going to be. The only thing where you have to pay attention is dressings and what you are putting on top of them and how you are making them. So I love always to mix it. Like I'm that kind of weird person. I enjoy eating vegetables even how they are. I don't need. I add just a little bit salt, just a little bit olive oil. Sometimes if I have some broccoli or something, just I put on top of that some cheese. And this is something what I enjoy eating. But basically, I'm a weirdo. I enjoy eating vegetables even as they are. I don't need too many kind of sauces or any dressings on top of that. But just trying to find a ways how to include more vegetables. So then foods to avoid is I would say that the third one is kind of high fat dairy products, and this is something what is like all what I this is a reminder for myself too. Like if you like, I love eating Greek yogurt, but if you compare the difference with the high fat version and low fat version, the amount of calories is huge. Obviously, it's a tasty thing also. Like it doesn't matter. You could be having a higher fat, but it's just that if you can't eat like low fat, or it's not you don't enjoy eating it, then go for a higher fat option. But remember always that it makes such a big difference how much fat is in those products. And other thing is like a high fat dairy products are cheeses. So there are some cheeses, especially low fat cheeses, which are very high in protein. But if you are looking protein sources that are fatty cheese, that's not the smartest idea. Okay, they are delicious, and they have some protein, but it's the ratio between how much protein you are getting versus how many calories there is. It's not very good in fatty cheeses. So be careful what kind of cheeses you are eating. So that is for number three. Number three to eat more is, I would say that it's a fiber. So fiber is something what I say that so many people don't even really know what it is, and it's something like that. If you eat, it's first of all vegetables. It's whole grain products like. They are high in fiber, and I highly recommend if you have a tracking app, or even you could be using ChatGPT or something. Just put list of foods what you have been eating and check out how much fiber you have been eating. So it's for your gut health, and also it makes you feel fuller. So all fruits, vegetables, whole grains, they are the best way to get enough fiber. So fiber, like this is just like I don't track personally. I don't track it every single day. I have just built my own habits in a way that I get, even in my worst day without tracking it, I'm pretty close to my fiber goal. So how much fiber you should be eating? So it's a 14 grams per 1,000 calories you are eating. So with this example, if you are eating 2,000 calories, your goal is to eat 2,000. It should be 28 grams. If it's more, like for me, I eat around 3,000 calories per day. So that is my maintenance where I'm currently at on average, as I have been that in there like most of the time for the past years. And for that, I'm aiming for 42 grams. And for me, how I get there. Like I make sure that I have two, three pieces of fruit every single day. I have a one big salad every single day. I try to have, when possible, when I'm eating some, for example, rice or pasta, I try to have kind of that whole grain version to increase that fiber intake. But sometimes, like especially for pasta, for example, I'm not enjoying the taste of whole grains so much. So I rather sacrifice a little bit of my health and fiber for tasting for taste. So that is up to it's very individual, and you can always check look what you prefer doing, but that should be goal. And it's not even you don't hit your number perfectly, it's you don't do any huge harm, it just make things again easier. Then number 4 on list of foods what you should be avoiding is all kind of fried foods. So this is just it's again like you can have it, but if you look amount of how it's increasing calories, amount of if you are frying your food, how much increasing your calories, and it obviously it involves unhealthy fats, so that have some other impacts as calories, but also so all kind of fried food. That is for me, it's something what I would avoid. And again, as any other on this list of foods, what you should be avoiding, you can always have, but just make sure to check it out. Look how many calories you are actually eating. Then for number 4, foods to eat. And I would say that this is now something. It's not something to eat, but it's a water. Like what you should be adding water. More water you are able to drink, better you will be. So obviously there is a only harm, so you can't really overdo it. So because our body is very good at telling you when you have enough. So it's color of your pee. So until when your pee is light colored, you are doing it correctly. If you never go to the toilet, or when you go, there is coming some black urine, then it's time to you are doing it way too little. And now I see it myself here now, especially in Italy, in the summertime when I'm a person who sweats a lot, and even I try to drink a very lot. There are some days that I recognize that I haven't been in toilet whole day, or when I go, there is barely nothing coming out, and that's why the drinking water, it makes everything so much easier. It makes you feel fuller. So how I like to use this and what I like, there are a couple of good tricks how to act like. But first of all, to start your day, first thing in the morning, drink big glass of water, and that is what I try to like before having a coffee, before anything else, big glass of water. Then trying to have a glass of water before my meal, after my meal. Basically all the time having water bottle visible. So now when I'm recording this podcast episode, I have a bottle of water visible. I'm drinking, having a sip every once in a while. And what my favorite way to keep on track on water intake is that if I have my bottle is 0.6 liters. So if my goal is to have 3 liters per day, I would have 5 rubber bands, or make sure that I refill that bottle 5 times per day. So that is kind of my personal goal, what I try to aim for every single day. Some days, of course, I'm not some machine who is doing everything perfectly. I forgot to do it, but this is not about being perfect all the time, but it's more like kind of trying to be as consistent and as possible. So this is then number 5 foods to kind of avoid. I would say that this is it's not a food, but it's a thing what you should be avoiding, that do not go too low in the calories. So this is a very common problem, and this is what I mean. If you try to go too low on your calories and to eat too little. It's how it's impacting us. So you might be, if you think that you are eating 1,200 calories, you don't see any results, and now you have to go lower. What happens for those people? By far, almost all, that they think that they eat 1,200 calories, but the reality is that there are some snacks, maybe going eating or drinking a little bit more calories on weekends, and you are eating and drinking a lot more than 1,200 calories. So don't go too low, because if you go too low and try to kind of speed up your weight loss, what happens is that your body, if that the calorie deficit is too big, you don't eat enough protein, you don't do any resistance training, your body doesn't care where it takes that missing energy. And unfortunately, if we are trying to get there as quickly as possible, and you are eating very little calories, the fastest way to compensate that missing energy is from your muscles and not from your fat. Obviously, you would like that your body is taking all energy from fat, but that's not what's going to happen. And so for fat loss and to change your body composition, feel more confident, it's the most important thing is to have eat not in a too big deficit, eat enough protein as we talked, and do some kind of resistance training to kind of minimize that muscle loss while losing and maximize that fat loss at the same time. So that's why those things are the most important. Then last thing, foods, what you should be eating more. I would say that this is not a single food, but obviously I would be telling like I already touched a little bit, having a fruits, couple of fruits, vegetables, salty treats, whole grains and fiber, proteins, healthy fats, of course, they are important too. But I would say that the last thing is to find like that last food, or what to eat more, is to find kind of to think that what you enjoy eating, and finding a way to hit your numbers with the foods you actually enjoy eating. So and to also include kind of your favorite foods. So what I love to say that is that this would be a food what you enjoy the most, but to have it in moderation. So this might be different for every person, but what I love to say that if you have a problem, like let's say that you think that you are sugar addict or something, that you can't have a piece of chocolate, because if you have one piece, you might have you can't stop eating it. So for that kind of person, I would probably say that, okay, you don't need it. You don't. It's better that at least for a while you don't eat at all. But even the ultimate goal should be always to bring back those foods in moderation. But for some other person who have like kind of cheat day per week, and it's only 1 day per week, and how often I see that those cheat days are going, is that you end up overeating. You end up like you eat more than you should be eating, because you think that I have to eat today because tomorrow I'm not allowed anymore. And you have these kind of rules. And the best ways how to change that thinking is to actually make yourself to eat those foods every single day. But to have it, like I said, to have some kind of budget, like it would be that have been for some of my clients who have been struggling with that kind of overeating on weekends, or having the cheat days and going overboard. And that is causing that you are not actually seeing the progress. But if you go for example, your goal is again 2,000 calories per day. And let's say that it's called 80-20 rule. So 20% of your calories should be food from what you are actually enjoying. And that would be 400 calories. So let's say that you eat 400 calories from foods you actually enjoy. So it could be chocolate, it could be fried foods or those foods what I said that you should be avoiding. But if you follow that 80-20 rule, it's more sustainable than actually trying to hit perfectly and hit only 100% healthy foods, because honestly, that is for me, that is more like a prison, and that is not the best way to do it. So rather have a little bit flexibility, freedom doing it, and that 20-80 rule. And if you divide those numbers within your calorie budgets, that's probably the best way how to do it, or how I would do it. So these were my top 5 foods to avoid. I hope it makes sense. Top 5 foods to eat more if your goal is to find a sustainable way for fat loss. And I would love to hear from you. So let me know. Email me turo@fitmitturo.com or send me DM in my Instagram. I would love to hear from you what you thought about this episode. What was your biggest takeaway? And if you have ever some topics, what you think that I should cover, what you would like that I talk, I'm always open to hear your questions, answering those in this kind of long form content. So thank you for listening, and especially for those, that big thank you who have left a 5-star review in iTunes or Spotify. Those are helping massively with reaching more people. So have a good day, and talk to you soon.
Hold up, friend. Do you love FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to FitMitTuro Fitness Podcast.